Good morning, Vietnam. I always wanted to do that.
Like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Since I was 17, I wanted to do that.
Good. You're living the dream, bro.
Man, yeah. I just thought I would pretend that my team's in the Super Bowl this year. So
that chain, bro, if it were any bigger, Flava Flav would sport that thing.
Flava Flav!
For real, bro. That is Flava Flav sized.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not. Yeah, look at the size of the chain alone. Although, what's that rapper's name? They had him on. What the hell is it? Something Two Guns.
Dude. Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yep.
I'm sorry, man. This dude is not burdened by deep thought. I watched his interview and they ask him questions that are some of the funniest things in the world. Like they'll ask him questions, you know, the basic setup stuff. Did you have any brothers and sisters? And he'd go, like he was trying to figure out if the dude was getting over on him with the question with everything he asked him. Yeah, I got a brother. Like everything this dude got asked, it was like he was.
I know dudes like that.
He's doing his PSI.
They think you're trying to soft punk them with every question. Yeah.
What's that supposed to mean, dude? Yeah, I got family. Yeah. What's your problem?
Yeah.
Let's say hi to some people. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's Saturday. This is it's the weekend edition of the Morning Mayhem.
Yeah.
Good to have you here. Taylor Lee stopped by, but she's got to go to work. Blessed to Crochet, Kristen Melinda, Paula D. Penley, good to see you. How are you? Amy, good to have you here. Love it. Lisa Trimble, good morning, Lisa Trimble. Good to have you here. Galen, how are you? Auntie Monkey Pants is here. Good to have you here. Aunt KK, the aunts are out. Cassandra, good to see you. Love Mama Bear. Christy Nicole. Or Nicole? Probably Nicole. What was that? Tina, David Clark, what's happening? Glad you're here. Robin Bliss is back. Hey, Shirley. Good to have you. Katrina. Wanna Love is in the house. Hello, Alexina.
I want a whole lot of love. Can you get if you sing a song too much, isn't there like a copyright thing they can do?
You know something? You kind of have to do it well, apparently. I do a lot of singing, and I've only wow, that's a great rumor. Boy, I hope that's true. I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy, man. I hate to be that guy. I don't know, but I don't want him being SA'd. That's just foul all the way around. But that's not our car either. And that car's kind of foul, man.
Oh, yeah.
They go hard to the paint.
Yeah.
They go hard. They beat their people a little differently than we beat our people. There's a decent chance that could have happened.
Yeah, they just don't do body shots and maybe poke you with a knife. They poke you with a knife, but it's the meat shank, not the steel shank.
He got meat shanked. There's a term I thought I might go the rest of my life without hearing.
No hearing,
but no, the meat shank.
No pork sword.
Yeah, he got stabbed by the pork sword. Cooter by the Lake, good to have you here. That's too effing funny. Sorry, go ahead.
This chain's so heavy, I gotta take it off my neck.
Yeah, it looks it. Sounds it too. You know what? If they do move him there, in all honesty, it's kind of a wet dream for a dude who's doing life in prison. I mean, for real, with his paperwork, ADX is the best hope he could get. Yeah. They're going to pull him out and stick him in a place that literally nobody can get at him. I mean, nobody could get at him because he's going to be alone in a cell for as long as they leave him there. That is absolutely 100% solitary confinement. ADX ain't no joke. That is the most secure prison in the United States of America, or so they brag.
That's where I would want to be. I mean, if I had to do time like that, I would want to be there. And, every once in a while, maybe some drugs would come through or something, who knows?
I don't think there's a shot in hell of anything coming into ADX. And the way they got it set up. So look, I mean, there is a cadre unit, right? They have a full cadre unit in there. So it's not what everybody thinks. There is about 130 guys in there that they have to have in order to make the prison run. So they do the laundry for all of the other people that are on full-time lockdown, and they cook for the people that are on full-time lockdown, and they paint hallways and do things like that. But their cells have a sally port, which is one of the weirdest things in the history of prison. But your cell has a cell door in front of it. So you got to go through a cell door, and there's a little spot that you can shower right there and everything else with a drain. So like the sally port area doubles as a shower.
Oh, wow.
They have a shower that will come to it. Now, that's not every cell, but that's how it was originally designed. And then they tapped out because so much crap broke that they ended up putting showers in a lot of the cells. But they still have these sally ports, so it makes it really hard to fish. You're not getting out because of that extra area. You ain't getting a car out to somebody that has to then do the same thing through their area. It's really vicious, man. I know a lot of folks that did a lot of time there. I did when I was
personally one guy.
They brought the individual the same day. It was after, they had these lawsuits that a bunch of guys filed about cruel and unusual punishment. And the truth is, most of the guys at ADX have to be separated from other people. Like, these guys are freaking animals. They're savages. But there was a period of time back there where if you pissed off the wrong person, they threw you in ADX and just kind of tossed out the key. And there were a bunch of lawsuits filed because apparently 15 years of solitary confinement is considered cruel and unusual punishment by the federal government now. So I knew guys that had done 20 in there. And all at once, a bunch of dudes got kicked out. And we got 6 of them in a day. And they were jacked up folks, man. You couldn't have a damn conversation with one of them. I'm not joking, man. A couple of big numbers, too. But they were cats. I mean, there were a couple of big homie legends and shit in there, guys that, some of the big homies that had really done. Look at that. It's my fiance. First time stopping by. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you, Quibs. Yeah, but there were some rock star names, but these guys were evil, kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Not all there. And I'm not even joking, man. But oddly enough, some of the things that you find out about it are just bizarre. Like, up until, I guess, just recently, you could buy a 1 pound bag of sugar every week.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, who are you going to beat up? I guess they just figured it kept, you're not going to get dope in there. So they'll just let you blow off half a bag of wine a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Or a good batch every 2 weeks. Speaking
of funny sally ports, do you remember when they invented those tray sally ports for the shoe? That they,
yes.
If you if you take the door hostage, the hatch hostage too many times, they'll put that.
It looks like the thing at the bank.
Yeah.
It really does. It looks like you're getting your cash back from the ATM machine. They got this big silver box thing that your food comes in.
Yeah.
Boy, nothing makes you feel more like a loser than God help us, dude. I was in one of those cells getting fed through that little device and on paper. So if you guys don't know the on paper concept, if you go to the shoe, you've pissed off somebody, right? You did something wrong, you got caught, you dropped a hot, you did whatever. If you're in the shoe and you manage to get their attention yet again, like you do something in the shoe that's stupid, you get caught getting high in the shoe, or you get in a fight in a cage or whatever, they say you get put on paper. And what that means is there's nothing in that cell that you're allowed to have that isn't made of paper. And that includes your sheets, your clothing. Nothing says I have arrived in life like wearing a Tyvek pair of pants to sleep in. That is the worst, dude. I spent 35 days on paper.
Oh, wow. I seen a dude take a cell hostage because they weren't exchanging out his paper jumpsuit, his paper poncho.
It's because you start to stink, dude.
Yeah, and he was like, "Man, I got spaghetti on this," and he was just complaining, man. And he wanted a new, and they were like, "Man, we don't have any paper jumpsuits, you know. And he's like, call laundry. He's like, well, they're not at laundry.
why would we launder
like
paper?
Office Depot, you know.
Yeah, that's not a laundry kind of a thing. No, I remember I was on it so long that the cool cops that would come on would go, they'd come to trade your stuff out and go, hey man, I'm gonna give you 2 pair. And they'd say it like they were giving you, 4 pounds of crack rock you had to hide under the rack. I'm giving you an extra pair of paper. Hey, good looking out, dog.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Here's an extra paper.
Do you know what's funny? How much fist bumping goes on in prison? Do you know that my fiance will not fist bump? I do it constantly. I go like this, and she will not do it. She goes like this and slaps my hand. Like, get that thing the hell out of here.
I do the slap. I do the slap. That's funny.
That's a big Reese thing. It's a very big Reese thing.
Huh. That's crazy.
The fist bump. The bro hug.
The Obamas kind of ruined the fist bump for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I saw a guy that we had a dude about 5'3", 5'4", worked in the kitchen at Paradise, and had his entire back piece was the Obama family, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Oh
but,
man, I want to say something so bad, but I can't say.
Yeah, you're better than that. But what ends up happening is this kid goes out onto the rec yard like it's American History X, peels the shirt off like he's just proud as hell, and he didn't make it 4 steps, dude. And so as we were all getting our clothing put back in and walking inside, a black dude just disassembled his head from his neck. It was one of the most unbelievable shots you ever saw. And I knew it was coming, dude. As soon as he took his shirt off, I'm like, you can have a really racially disgusting tattoo. You got that. But you might want to tip up. You know what I mean? Maybe be with some people before you go brandishing that to the world. Maybe have 10 or 12 guys, riding independent and rocking. That's probably not such a great idea. And I'm not kidding you. He got hit by the guy from the Green Mile. And when I say he was 5'4", bro, he was 5'4". Like, this is just, he walked out there like this, dude. Check this out. Yeah.
I know the dude. I don't know.
You know the dude,
but I know that guy.
That's the best line ever. Anytime someone says in prison, I know the dude. Yeah. Might have not been on that yard, right? But I know the dude.
Yeah.
I saw him fling an entire coffee mug full of boiling water on a guy. And then 5 days later, he was back. And I said to everybody there, I'm like, dude, maybe just don't talk to this guy. You know what I mean? I've done a little bit of time. That one usually won't get you brought back to the same yard. Like, he had to go up there and go, lick his pen. I'm going to need a notebook before I tell. Maybe one of them legal pads, one of the long ones. Give me about 60, 70 pages. One of these days on here, I'm going to bring on the largest snitch kite ever written. I'm not kidding you. I have it. I'm not kidding. I have it. So I'm doing time in the shoe, right? And this cop comes up to my cell and he goes, "Are you Rock?" And I go, "I am." And he goes, "Listen, man, I'm going to give you a kite that somebody dropped on you and about 4 other people on this range." He goes, "But it's mostly about you." And I go, "All right." And he goes, "But the dude that wrote it, he's like, he's going to start calling and kiting. And he's like, you got to not get caught with this." So I'm like, all right. So I wait until they open my bean chute for the phone. And I take out this thing. It's 8 pages long, bro.
Oh my God. And
the opening line is, "Dear Warden, I'm not kidding you." And it says, "My memory is really bad, so I may be, I'm going to have a hard time explaining this properly because I have epilepsy and I'm not good with names." He proceeds to give him 60 names, dates. Like, it's the most, it's like the Enterprise letter, bro. And he's breaking down like all of the dirt I'm doing on the yard, like me in particular. And the reason is because he owes me a shit ton of money, right? So he's trying to get me hemmed off the yard. Well, it didn't work. He got sent to the shoe. And then I got hemmed up. I mean, it sort of worked, but I didn't get hemmed up for what he brought the light to me, on me for. I got hemmed up for something else. But he's in the shoe on the same range as me. And I just start reading this thing out loud, right? And everyone's going, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, the dude in the first cell. I'm like, this is his snitch letter. Shut up too, because your name's in it. And then I just start going back and reading it, right? And it's the funniest crap in the world. He did. He wrote, got a cop. They were coming up, going cell to cell, trying to find the snitch letter and getting it back. And I mean, dudes are hooping this. If you knew what we had to do to keep this thing, but I got it in my property. I kept it through like 4 more prisons because it's the most impressive thing. It's the yellow legal pad stuff, right? Yellow legal pad, 8 pages. Man, that ain't snitching, dude. That's writing a book. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, dude. We caught a guy snitch kite one time. I was in a federal holding, and it was just people on the street though, and he was just making a list of everyone he was going to go debrief about, and yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no,
I'm trying to.
Go ahead. Do what you
I'm
do.
Just
what you
trying
do.
to get some things up.
Yeah, do what you do. Don't even trip. But yeah, it has gone down in the annals of prison as the largest snitch ever written down. It was so bad that the cops gave it to us, which is pretty classic. And the only other thing about it that was really, really funny is this dude wrote this about me before leaving, right? Before even checking in. So everybody's out on the yard doing our things, and he doesn't go to the yard. He stays back. And we're on the yard watching him walk down the walkway. He's got to go by every one of us with 2 people on the way to the LT's office checking in. And everyone's going, oh, no, because the dude had done business like virtually with the whole yard. You know the type. He got there and like ran up $1 million debts. He's wheeling and dealing. He's getting shoes from this guy. He's buying tobacco on the front from this guy. I'm like, this dude ain't going to be here long.
Oh, yeah, that's a sure sign. That's a sure sign.
Real bad sign. That and the other thing was he hit the yard and he said, I said, where are you coming in from? He goes, Lewisburg. I go, yeah, no shit. I said, what unit were you in Lewisburg? And he goes, 4. And Lewisburg is one of those A, B, C, D, E, F, G layouts. So I'm like, unit 4 were you? I'm like, A or B? And he's like, A side. And it's a 4, it's a 3 tier. So it would have been like J block 2nd floor, or it would have been like, D block 3rd floor. And he's like, yeah, 4th, unit 4, B side. I was like, how about that? So I just, the only reason he owed me money is from poker. Like I wasn't doing business with the fool, but he got into me bad playing poker against me. And you know how the poker tables are. They're like, yeah, you got over $1,000. You just have to deal with him personally. Man, go F yourself, dude. I never did that to people. Like I got to deal with it. But when so the punchline is when he goes and checks in, I come walking back in, stomping. Everybody in the room is, and the cop goes, "Hey, what's wrong with you, Rock?" I'm like, "That dirty piece of shit." He's like, "Well, I was about to pack up his cell. You want to do it for me?" I said, "Geez, that'd be lovely, boss. Give me a couple bags. I'll go pack that up." So while I was in the shoe with him, he keeps writing kites. When they brought his property, he's like, "What the F is this? There's nothing in my property. Where is everything?" I was like, "Don't trip, doggy. I got you." I said, "I packed that up for you." I got it all accounted for. It's back at the cell. Don't worry about it. We're handing it out to everybody you got over it. All right, what do we got in the news?
Well, I got some politics, a little bit of politics, and I got some Wes Watson news, which is pretty good. I just found out about the Wes Watson like right before we got on, but a friend of the show, he did a live this morning about it, so I thought we'd watch a little bit of that.
You do realize that man is an absolute basket case.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever see the clip of film when he ran into Diddy in South Miami? Because that's worth looking up. So right in the middle of all of this, like Diddy's name was already poop. I was already doing videos about him. We already knew what Diddy was like. All of that was coming out, and Wes runs into him in Miami in public, and you're like, convict, right? Weirdo, like handle that shit. He goes up and goes, "Oh my God, I'm just out in Miami hanging out. Look who it is. It's the king." Like he's
what?
Like, what did you just do, man? Yeah, it's a terrible clip. You'll end up finding it because it's not hard to find, but it is a terrible. He made a short out of it. I was a moron.
Of course he did.
But yeah, he's in some trouble for effing up at in a gym. They attacked somebody or something.
Yeah.
I hope he gets sent back, man.
He called the dude out, and he's, because he's always like, well, show up, thinking that no one's ever going to show up. Well, this dude shows up. Yeah. He's like, let's go outside. And West wouldn't go outside, but him and his boys jumped him,
Yeah, typical, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
One of the guys hit him in the head with a dumbbell.
When I was a youngster, man, a guy I knew got killed that way. It doesn't take much, man. You swing weights around, man. That's a dangerous weapon.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah, that's a good one. I like to talk about Wes. He's okay, brother.
Talk about Wes, and then in a story I've been trying to talk about for the last 4 days, but we just haven't got to it. Is Donnie Wahlberg and his lovely wife. What's her name?
I don't know anything about that.
What's her name? She was on the TV. She was married to Jim Carrey for a while. Jenny McCarthy.
Shut up. Jenny McCarthy is married to one of the Wahlbergs?
Yeah, he's married to the one that was in Kids on the Block. New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block had a bunch of
So maybe we'll start with that one just because I've been trying to get to it all week.
Hey, John would like us to take down that whiskey bottle. Now we can't do that mid-show, but we'll definitely take a look at that if it's a triggering thing. He says maybe go with a Red Bull or something along those lines. Perhaps
in the background thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that. That I thought about that when I was doing, but we had a lot to do and it was a short amount of time. But I definitely wanted to represent, it's after the bars, after you get sober.
Yeah.
Or people just getting out of the bars thinking about getting sober and they run into us. The crazy thing is, if we no joke at all, John, but if we put up Red Bull within 2 days, I would have somebody say to me, I'm trying to quit energy drinks and that stuff's killing me, man. That Red Bull, and no lie whatsoever, before anybody laughs, we had a guy in season 1 of the Lifeboat that was what he was trying to quit. And except it was Monster, and he was doing like 18 or something a day, had a vicious habit, and ended up his kidneys shut down. The dude's been on dialysis. Like, if you really get a habit on some of those energy drinks, it's there's some terrifying shit that can happen to people. It's Jenny McCarthy is married to Donnie Wahlberg. This has just been verified. This makes no sense to me. I had it, not that they married. That doesn't surprise me. But how did I not know that they were married? I feel like has this been going on for a long time? Yeah, they've been married for like 12 years, I think.
I am absolutely. Well, I mean, a lot of that I was in the coffee's not a bad call, John. I was in the joint for a lot of that though. So maybe that's it. Is that a recent picture? Jenny looks amazing.
Yeah, that is a recent picture. So basically he just, like, for Valentine's Day or something, he now the story's old now in my head, but basically he, like, rented a barge, half of an island, had a million roses and, did all these things. And
that's so nice.
I'm doing that for they're playing the story, and I'm looking over at my wife, and she's just getting madder and madder. Like, why wouldn't you ever do anything like that for me?
Dude, I'm trying to sell a kidney to get to Bug Tussle for Thanksgiving, and this guy's renting a barge with 1 billion roses on it.
Yeah, and it's
F
funny,
you, Wahlberg.
And Valentine's Day is my anniversary too. So, but she gave me a pat on the shoulder this morning and said, we're just going to give each other, just an I love you on Valentine's Day this year. Cause we're, it's kind of a struggle right now, tattooing slow.
Can I give you a great idea for real?
Yeah.
My grandparents used to tell this story when I was a kid, because they got married and grew up during the Great Depression, and it was horrible. The times were so bad. They would get magazines and they would cut a picture out of the magazine of whatever it is that they wish that they could have given them, the gift or whatever, and they put it in the box. And I laughed, and my grandfather kind of grabbed my arm and said, we went back and bought every single thing in those boxes. They just had to get to a point in their life where that could happen. He said, we would go back through and go, get out a couple of boxes. Let's go shopping. Because they ended up very, very well off, years down the road. But the whole "it's the thought that counts" kind of thing. I thought that was kind of beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been married apparently since 2014. God help us, it's a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
I had no idea, but I was locked up. I was pretty. In fact, yeah. Not only was I locked up in 2014, but you know what's funny as hell too? That was the no breaks Rocco period. Oh crap!
That's funny.
That's wicked funny. You were the first person that ever said that, you know.
But they're just super, super in love. It's almost disgusting. But like, I mean, I love my wife. I'm super in love with her. But like, they've been married a long time, and they just continue to act like newlyweds. So I feel that's inspiring for.
So was she married when she was molestering the Beeb on that award show? Did you ever see that clip of film, man? That's awful.
No,
it's freaking awful. Yeah, the Beeb was on one of the award shows, and she was just grabbing him everywhere she could grab him, and he was like, "Hey, whoa!" And when he went out to get the award, he was like, "Yeah, I feel like I just got molested," kind of a thing, for real. Yeah.
But she's a comedian.
You know what? That was a long time ago. She is absolutely a comedian, and Playmate of the Year, 1991, I think. I'm not saying
we're on there. She was the hostess on Remote Control, I think. She was one of those MTV game shows back in the day.
Oh, that I did not know.
I can't remember, but so there's that, and then we can either get into Wes Watson or some politics.
Fire up either one, man. You're the boss around here.
For more than an hour. Yeah. Tell us about that.
So we got Gavin Newsom. He met with Trump the other day talking about, what kind of aid Trump can help Gavin with. And just 30 days ago, Gavin basically declared war against the Trump administration before the fires. And his change of tone is pretty classic. So I just thought I'd play that.
President Trump for more than an hour. Yeah. Tell us about that meeting. How did it go?
He was very gracious to accept the meeting in very short order. We extended an open hand. I've said this often, not a closed fist, and reestablished a partnership and relationship to this fire, to the emergency that's still at hand as it relates to toxic materials that need to be cleaned up, to debris removal, to people, thousands and thousands of families whose lives have been torn asunder. And so it was incredibly productive.
Did you get any commitments from him for aid?
Broad strokes, not specific commitments, but broad strokes. And I have just all the confidence in the world that it's going to be a strong partnership moving forward. Look, cameras have moved on, and the devastation now is truly being absorbed.
Damn, he's good with his hands. You know what I mean? Man, cut his hands out of that. He really is. He's a good hand speaker. He keeps you going with it. I'm not a Gavin Newsom fan, but I'd like to party with the dude for a weekend. I mean, not the Tommy I am today, but because I have a feeling he goes hard.
Yeah, when he was the mayor of San Francisco, we all called him Gruesome Newsom. It was actually there was an old radio show host called Mike Savage. Remember Savage Nation?
Yeah, I remember Savage Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder whatever happened to him.
He's still on.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Massively. He's probably 300 or something stations. He's syndicated. He's been kicked out of Great Britain. So to anybody listening from Great Britain, he's not allowed in. Great Britain has banned him from their country.
I do remember.
I listened to a lot of Michael Savage when I was locked up. He was a late.
I did too.
He was one of those dudes. Yeah, because you know what? If you listen to late night radio locked up, you had Coast to Coast. You had Michael Savage. There's only a couple of late night stuff. But Savage was always Savage. That was always late night.
I don't know.
That's actually not such a bad idea here while we're at it. You should do a show about tattooing in jail, because for real, just I think that it's kind of funny, the making of the gun, all of that stuff. We could probably I can tell you what, I'm not even a tattoo guy, but get me a plastic fork. Right? I could set one up quickly. I just couldn't do anything you'd want on your body with it.
Yeah, it's
I hooped a few motors. Let's put it that way.
Tattooing technology has improved a little bit since bending forks, but
yeah.
But yeah, I would love to do that. actually, I'll commit to that this week. We'll just have a little segment, and then I'll show a bunch of pictures of tattoos that I did while I was in, and you can't tell the difference.
No,
really.
Your work inside or outside. And there's a lot of people that are pretty good. There's also some rank ass hacks, man. I mean, and there's a lot of people along the way. Like I watched a guy that I did years with in the same spot get really good tattooing. But if I were one of the guys that got his first couple of tats, I'd be bent. Like I would not be particularly happy. Yeah. I've seen some horror shows, tattoos in prison. I mean, some horror shows. I know a dude, and God help us, I hope he never comes across this channel. Maybe I shouldn't say it. He wanted the Man in Black on his neck. And if you're gonna do some portrait stuff, man, you better get a tattoo artist with some game. You know what I mean? If you're having somebody put a face or something on you,
neck is a hard area. Yeah.
Well, if I had $1 for every time somebody said to him, "Hey, what is that? Is that your grandmother? Who is that you got on your neck? Is that your grandmother? Your mom?" He'd go, "No, man, it's not."
Yeah,
it's the Man in Black. No, I promise you, it's not. That doesn't look anything like him, right? Oh God, it was terrible. I've seen some really bad ones, bro. Really bad ones.
I did an amazing portrait of Carrie Underwood on this guy's side that actually lives up here in Billings. I did it inside.
He's a fan.
A long time ago. Yeah.
He's a fan.
But
I mean, you got to be a good sized fan to throw Carrie Underwood on your side.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, a month ago he was ready to, he's just super anti-Trump. They've had a beef for a long time. But anyway, so I just want to see if you can pick out any coded language here by Gavin Newsom.
That President Trump has pressed for California requiring voter ID and changing to the water system. Did that come up with your meeting with him?
We talked about both. Yeah,
you talked about both, and did you say you would?
Ongoing conversation for over. I mean, I feel like I told the president when he was on the tarmac last week in Los Angeles. I said we're picking up on the last conversation we had around water 4.5 years prior. So I will say this, he's very focused on that issue. He certainly targeted some of that in terms of some of the actions he took by executive order.
2 billion gallons of water.
And so we had and that's why it was an extended conversation. I didn't even know people knew how long the conversation was, but it was an extended conversation. And so it was spirited.
All right, well.
Previously mentioned the timeline for rebuilding would be 6.
That wasn't the segment I was talking about, but yeah, I should have kept playing that.
You know what? If you look at Lake Tahoe, half of Lake Tahoe falls in California, half of Lake Tahoe, almost half. It's almost half and half. You got the north and you got the South Lake. And there are casinos on the South Lake side because you're on the Nevada side, and it's kind of the skeezier part of Lake Tahoe. Still fantastic. The lake's just as beautiful.
South Tahoe?
Yeah.
I would say South Tahoe is the nicer area, isn't it?
I prefer the hell out of it, but the snooty people don't. I mean, the $45 million properties don't fall on the south. Katzenberg. Katzenberg lives on the California side. The Clintons live on the California side. Okay, so, but they don't allow anybody to the laws between what Nevada allows you to do around your property to make sure your house doesn't burn down is really, really different compared to what they do in California and the stuff that they do with water. So when the crap hits the fan, if you just look at what happened when the fires come in Tahoe, one half gets absolutely decimated while the other half sort of dodges the bullet. And I think that I understand that they want to protect the forests and all that, but what you're doing is just setting up a tinder box to just burn the hell out of everything every few years, and it's probably not the greatest plan to go at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would. Whatever they were doing on the other side, I would do on my side. Hell be damned.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. And you talking about his hands. It's funny when I was watching these this morning. He is a good talker with his hands, but he does some creepy stuff that I don't know if it's because his hands look so dainty and like feminine, but he goes like this with his hands, and I don't know. It kind of creeps me out. But
to 9 months. Is that going to happen? And should people rebuild in some parts of California, given how high the fire risk is.
You can't rebuild the same. So we have to rebuild with science. We have to build with climate reality in mind. We have to look at infrastructure, redundancy, systems, ingress, egress as it relates to emergency management and planning, materials. All of that is being reviewed and reconsidered, and with the latest iterations in terms of understanding and technology. And I say technology in the context of how, again, we build the infrastructure to keep it safe, to address undergrounding of lines, how we address the larger issues of redundancy in terms.
Okay.
He has the smallest hands I've ever seen. I'm not being weird, but I mean, like, I got big paws. I'd like to shake that dude's hands. It should be pretty funny.
You'd crush him.
Justine says, Tommy, I'm sorry, just real quick. Tommy, you don't have to answer if you can't or don't want to. Now that you're off papers, can you live anywhere? Just curious of how you did time in Arizona and you live there. I did not. The time I did in Arizona was a Fed time. So at that time, I didn't live in Arizona. I was actually living in Nevada. And you just end up in different places. So I did time in Arizona before I ever lived here. I could not leave Nevada until I was off paper. So I was kind of stuck there. I mean, I could have filed a bunch of paperwork, but they get really angry when you do. And then the new place that takes you is a dick because they don't want you on their paperwork. So I just stayed in Nevada until I killed my paper. Now I can live anywhere I want in the United States. It doesn't once you're off paper, I can do whatever I want. I could travel. I'm just like you guys, except I can't purchase a firearm, or there's about 50 or 100 jobs I also can't have. But for the most part, I'm just like you guys now.
Yeah. And also in other news, movie. Oh, I wanted to talk about. So did you hear what he said? We're going to rebuild with science, and he said something. I mean, it's all climate change. No,
it is, and there are people that believe this was all, torched because they wanted to redo this in the modern city version of, and they wanted to fix LA and do all that. You want to believe that kind of stuff can't be possible. You know what I mean? You want to believe that there's not a chance in hell that there are people out there that are so freaking evil that they would burn. If you look at the scarred area of LA and compare it to like New York, you'd be getting rid of Queens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a huge swath of land that's been burned out. I think if I've got friends out in Cali that say you just can't believe it unless you drive by it. It's just absolutely astounding, how much of that is burned. But I don't know. It smells fishy to me.
Yeah. But I think 6 to 9 months is not even remotely.
I don't think they will have been breaking ground on a lot of these places.
No, they won't.
6 to 9 months.
Dude, it takes 90 days to pull certain permits to like break ground and to
especially get all, in that state.
Yeah, especially in California. Like I'm guessing 5 years really before they like really start like being in full swing about just a building.
You don't want to be cynical either, but you almost feel like a lot of times they stall people out. So if you're a really rich person in California and it's going to take 6 years for these insurance companies to get around to getting all of this stuff done and try to get people back to normal, same kind of thing happened after Katrina, where there were people who were just like, you know what, I can't stick around and wait for all this. Give me a buyout. I'll take my cash. I'll go somewhere else or whatever. And then people come in and buy 40 of those plots and they put up big buildings and they put up, this is going to be reimagined. It's not going to look anything like it did, in my opinion. It's not going to look anything like it did before the fires. And the only people that are going to be able to be rebuilt in the next 6 months are going to be the ridiculously wealthy who go, I'm not waiting on an insurance company anyway. Get your ass up here, start dropping some concrete. Yep. I'm going to start rebuilding on Monday and I'll just write a check for it. And me and the insurance companies can figure it out later. There are people that rich out there, but for the average person, the average American that lost a home, I think they're probably screwed.
Yeah, I think 6 to 9 months might be the uber rich, and not even like the kind of rich, like the uber rich.
And there's a lot of them. I mean, think about where some of these properties burned. Yeah.
Yeah, the process is designed to draw things out. Even with auto insurance, when I totaled my truck last year, the auto shop was telling me that there was a 9-month waiting list to even get my truck in. And he goes, and that's even if we can even get payment by then or before then. And it was crazy, but I did end up getting it expedited because the guy was tired of seeing my truck in his driveway, his parking lot.
That's a disease in our country. You know how you hear people say, they go to other countries to get their teeth done or to get a breast augmentation or to get liposuction or whatever. And then the argument you always hear is people go, man, I don't want to go to another country and get some dude that went to some, medical school in Guatemala or whatever that's coming, going to come in. It's usually when you go across there, you're talking to an American. Usually it's an American doctor that doesn't want to deal with all of the paperwork and all of the BS. So they go right across the border and they set up in Mexico. And you go across and you pay in cash. And because they don't deal with all of the insurance stuff that dings them and they don't have to deal with all of the paperwork and all that, they can pare it down to the cheapest they can do it. When you walk into Mexico to buy anything having to do with medicine or having to do with procedures or whatever, you get an idea of what it would cost if they didn't have all of the paperwork that had to get filed, because that's usually how it goes down for real. Like you go get your teeth done for about 30 cents on the dollar, because 70 cents of that payment is just BS that you got to pay people to push paper around and all of that.
Yeah, that's funny. A friend of ours went down to Mexico and got the mommy makeover or whatever.
Oh yeah,
it was like breast, hips, butt, tummy, everything, and they cut out a section of her side or something, and they were like, the nurses were like throwing it around and holding it up and laughing, because they filmed the whole thing. And
holy crap!
Like, what the hell is going on right now, dude?
It's like a cross between a hospital room and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, they were like, I'm gonna have to get that video and show it. I don't know if I can show it.
How did she look when it was all over? When it was all said and done?
Oh, she looks great, man. She looks great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people that have worked done down there.
Yeah. Her ex-husband tried to get back with her, and but anyway. Also in politics, we have they delayed the Kash Patel confirmation. The Democrats are, they're just stomping their feet and pounding, and of course all the Republicans are saying, well, hey, when you guys had the majority of the House, we confirmed everyone and didn't delay and do filibustering and all of the things.
The problem. They're terrified, man. Kash Patel he's a hatchet. They're afraid that he's going to go in there and start.
He has that list in the back of his book, and they talk about that, and so of course they're saying it's retaliatory politics and all of the things. But he's been real clear about wanting to drop that Epstein list. Yeah, and Kash Patel says if he gets in there, he is dropping that Epstein.
Senate Judiciary
list.
Chairman Chuck Grassley announcing.
Yep. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
The committee vote for FBI Director nominee Kash Patel is delayed until next week, and he is criticizing his Democratic colleagues for dragging their feet. Listen here.
The Democrats are establishing a double standard by forcing us to meet this morning. Last Congress, Republicans routinely required the committee to meet in person, did not require the committee to meet in person, just to hold over nominations. Republicans extended this courtesy at least 17 times last Congress, even when very controversial nominees were on the agenda. But now that Republicans are in the majority, Democrats on this committee are not extending the same practice to us. Our committee works best when both sides uphold norms.
Grassley told us yesterday on America Reports that the vote in the committee for Kash Patel would be a week from today, but making it official this morning in the committee. Ranking Member Dick Durbin responding, saying that he wanted a second hearing. Some discussion about all of this still going on, but the headline, the committee is going to vote on Kash Patel next Thursday.
Yeah, so I guess it's going to happen on Thursday. They're going to. I mean, he's a shoo-in. There's
and here's the thing, real quick. Will you also check other sources besides Fox? That clip that you just saw was only a clip off of a statement that was made during the Kash Patel hearing. It could have come from any one of them. It's just that if you pick the big ones, you got a lot less chance of them smacking you around because so many people use either Fox or CNN that the odds that you get picked up for a strike or somebody that's going to complain about it, if you start going down the chain or starting to go to, but that wasn't an opinion piece by Fox and a Banana. That was just Fox allowing us to get a look at what was said on the floor there. So it isn't a fact checking kind of a thing.
I will do other when doing opinions. I will definitely get both sides. I'm just playing clips.
All we were trying to do was get a clip of him on the floor saying that.
Yeah, and I do have some CNN stuff coming up here.
Well done, John.
At his committee hearing, Mr. Patel said all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. We said, great, okay. Yet just hours later, the administration forced out 8 of the Bureau's most senior career, let's say that again, career public servants who serve in nonpartisan roles. One day later, an email was sent to FBI employees requesting a list of everyone who had worked on January 6 cases, quote, to determine whether any additional personnel actions are necessary, end quote. So you just get assigned to a case. You're a brand new agent, or maybe you've been there and you have a specialty working on certain types of cases. You get assigned and now you're on this list. Seems a little bit reminiscent to the list that Kash Patel has at the end of his book.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that. It's been postponed, and the Dems are doing what Democrats do and Republicans. Like I said, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I just want us all to have a great next 4 years fiscally, and hopefully that happens. And if it doesn't, I promise you, I will be the first one burning a Trump flag.
I have never been. You can go back and watch me. I don't do the politics thing. I never have. But I will tell you this: it takes 6 minutes of deep diving to find out that the last 4 years have been an abortion. And I'm sorry, it has been. The stuff that they did got us about as close to shit in the bed as a country as we've ever been. And the truth is that we had to listen to these jackwagons for 4 years saying it's just not that simple. You can't just shut down the border. We've been trying to do it. We're doing this, we're doing that. We heard it at every freaking press conference. And it took 7 days to knock down border crossings by 90%. That stuff that's been coming across this border has been killing people unabated. It's the number one cause of death in our country, which means they could have stopped it. They could have stopped 300 people a day. So the politics be damned. That's a sick group of people. And it doesn't take long to research that they had all voted for the wall the first time. Look it up, right? All of them did. So the politics part of it, look, I don't like getting into it. I really don't. But when the BS is so damn obvious that you can't miss it unless you're trying to, every once in a while, you kind of got to, make a point. And I know a bunch of people are going to hate me for saying that, but do the research, right? Explain to me how it was impossible for 4 years, but possible in 7 days. That's pretty damn sad, right? Those are my friends. They're all dead.
Yeah.
Close to home. I'm sorry, but they're all dead. Yeah. I got nobody left. Casper's still here, but the people I knew on the street, there's one left.
I am still here. I got sober and I got exhausted.
The only thing that saves you.
It's exhausting. Doing 5 grams of heroin a day is exhausting.
It's a full-time job, to be sure.
Yeah. And this is just them talking about all the tax cuts. I won't play that. It's kind of a little bit too much pro-Trump. But I am super glad about the tax cuts. But I do want to play this. This is they're just everyone just freaking out about Elon going in with this Doge crew, finding all these places that we need to cut the government. Yeah, and they're not mad, and they want to say, everyone wants to say they're mad because he's not qualified or he's not this, he's just a billionaire looking to see how he can make money. He doesn't need to make money off the government. Yeah. That's the last place and how can he make money? He's not making money out of cutting the size of our government. But truly what it is that he's just exposing all the freeloading and the everything else where people want to earmark, our budget for their own little pet projects, and it's getting destroyed right now. And I'm glad.
He's going to lose money. He's going to lose money as a human being. He'll lose money through this venture. The government has to. There are laws that have been on the books for an eternity. That same with Trump. Like that, nobody that went to Washington anymore could stay at the. For political reasons, nobody could stay at Trump International or any of those things because it looked like a conflict of interest.
Right.
Well, prior to that, everybody that went there stayed at Trump stuff. So when you're forced to take your business ventures and put them aside until you're not working with government anymore, it'll hit them financially. I mean, you got $100 billion. I don't think you got to worry about it too much. There's not much of a problem. But it is what it is.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to play this. I'm sorry. Excuse my language. It's Saturday. This ass wagon playing.
Just real quickly, it's never been a democracy. I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's never been a democracy. It wasn't even set up that way, right? That's not what we are. It's a great concept that we would be a democracy and every single vote, but that's not what it is. We elect representatives who go in. It is a democracy is the closest name that we can come up with. But if it was a democracy, they would say, do you guys want taxes raised? And we would go like this. And that doesn't happen, right? What we do is we elect people who are going to go and write stuff and pass laws and do it on our behalf. But it's not a democracy. It's not been a democracy ever. We're a republic that is based on some concepts that are much closer to democracy than socialism, but we're not. And the problem has become that since the start of this country, when about 5% of the people in America worked for the government, now it's 54%. And at the rate we're going, it'll be 74%. So if that's what we're going to do, we're cool. That's fine. But then you do what you call an Article 5 convention where everybody gets together, and you need 32, I believe. 32 states will have to ratify this and say, yes, we want to get together. Then you have an Article 5 convention where you get back together and you can rewrite the whole damn thing if you want. But all of this crap that we do, with all due respect to everybody, it would be great if the whole world had 8 to 10 years to get kicked out of society so that they could read about all of this stuff. Because what we do instead is we listen to sound bites and we build our opinions based off of them. And they don't teach civics anymore in high school. So most kids do believe we're a democracy and they don't understand the concept. And if you say to somebody, how many branches of government are there? Do you realize that if you ask the average person in the United States of America how many states they are, more than half get it wrong? So all of the opinions of all of the people that, with all due respect, don't have anything but to put any fire behind it. Sadly, look, I don't watch Fox. I ain't seen that program in a decade. I haven't watched a news program in a decade. I'll grab clips, but I don't watch any of that crap because every bit of it, it's not who, what, when, where. That's what news used to be. Now you turn it on and there's a school one of these and all we hear is why. One group will tell you the only reason this happened is because there's not enough gun control. And the other side will tell you the only reason this happened is because these idiots with their video games are allowing to be. And the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Yeah. But just like a party will vote for the wall in 1 year and vote against the wall in the next, it doesn't have anything to do with right, wrong, what the constituents want, or any of those things. This is about people, right? Yeah. I'm sorry. So
no, I appreciate everything you just said. And look, we're not trying to we're not picking sides. I'm just playing clips on a morning show of things that are getting talked about out there on YouTube. I'm not watching CNN. I don't watch Fox. I don't watch any of it. I don't watch Sean Hannity, and I don't watch what's his name, the Lemon. I don't watch Don Lemon. I don't watch any of those cats. I'm just like reporting on what stuff's getting talked about, just so we can talk about something more than silly little videos of people stealing eggs in Pennsylvania, which I am going to talk about here in a minute.
I hope so. Cassandra asks, I've been going down the rabbit hole with Blake Lively stuff. Her case is a federal one, but I don't understand why it's federal and not state. Can you explain? Most people are, first of all, this is going to be an interesting case because one of the guys is foreign, right? Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. But what happens is most of these people take their suit to the Southern District of New York because there is a law there against gender-motivated violence. And what they're trying to do is, so these are not criminal acts. These are civil cases. They're not being charged so that they can put Blake Lively or any of these people in prison. This is so that these people can, it's to get cash. They're filing it under the, in New York for a cash thing. Tuberville's an idiot. I'm not going to argue that. I don't come down on either side of it. The only person currently in office right now who is a jester that I can prove is a Republican. Trust me. I want that border shut down. I've said it from the beginning. Tuberville used to be a football coach. He's too stupid to be. I'm sorry, he is. He's a nice man, I'm sure. I bet he's got a great family and all of that stuff. But I've seen some interviews with this guy where he didn't take civics class. He didn't. But this happens a lot. It happens an awful lot because he coached at Auburn. What an embarrassment. I'm sure, again, he's a very nice guy and he was an excellent football coach. But this is probably not a guy that ought to be in office because, look, whether you hate the people that they're bringing in now or not, like you could hate Elon Musk all day long. He's not been a failure, right? He's been very successful. And he's been successful in numerous businesses, right? We started out with the PayPal thing, which was kind of cutting edge stuff when it came out, right? PayPal was hot stuff. And the electric car thing, when America was paying $300,000 for a car that went 40 miles, he came out with a Tesla that could go 245. He learned how to launch a rocket. So the guy's a success, whether you like him or not. Tuberville is a coach. And I'm not trying to be a dick, but I don't know that you can say somebody that has gotten 3 businesses off the ground and has overcome problems and had to work with large groups of people. You taught 17-year-olds and, to 22-year-olds how to be pulling guards and how to make sure that they drag 2 toes in the end zone when they catch a pass. Actually, one in the college football. But there's something wrong with, a lot of times we vote with our heart. I think that if Tim Tebow runs for office, he's got a good shot at getting elected. Although I think Tebow would probably be a better bet. But there should be, I've always said you should have to take a test to vote. And I know that people get really pissed off when I say that. But I took a course in college on politics, a political science course. And at the time, Clinton was running for office. And we had a woman in the class, older woman. And it was like a community college course. So she was there taking it. And every time we talked about politics, they'd say, do you guys know who you're going to vote for yet? People would be going back and forth. She'd go, I don't know. Clinton's a very handsome man. And I said once, I raised my hand. I'm like, for real? Like, we've been doing this for 2 weeks and the best you could come up with is he's a handsome man. And I said to my partner at the time, the girl I was with, I said, if she says that again, I swear to God, I'm yelling, she's killing me and I'm leaving the room. And I ended up doing it. She said it like 4 times in one class. I didn't say it the first time. I'm like, buddy, she's like, I don't know. He is handsome. I'm like, you're killing me. I got him. Like, you should have to take a test. Because if there are people that don't know what they're voting for, who they're voting for, it's a frightening thing to me. And I know I'm going to be popular as hell saying that, but it's all right. I offend everybody anyways.
We're just a couple of cons on a morning show with some cool graphics, really. I mean, what else are we doing?
On the bright side, we do have cool graphics. Tell me about that
game, because I see a big whiskey bottle down there, and if anything, I'll just have it
whiskey
hidden.
bottles.
I do want to represent the bars. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out something more big. Anyway, speaking of eggs,
what has that got to do with the price of eggs?
Yeah, man, a lot. So it's funny. So I went shopping last night just to pick up a couple of things because we had a little. My daughter had a sleepover, last night, and so I went to go get some snacks for the girls and. I said, I think I'm gonna make some egg salad sandwiches. So I was gonna buy like the 4 rack, it's like 18 times 4. And I looked down and it said $40-something. I was like, what? And I was with one of my wife's friends. I went and picked her up from a thing. Anyway, so she's like, yeah, you didn't know? I was like, no, I didn't know. I mean, I heard who complained about it the other day when she was talking shit about Trump. I can't remember. So someone complained about it. Like, oh yeah, you heard about
the View.
Joy Behar.
It was Joy Behar on the View.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was right. But anyway, I mean, but Trump's
I think
got a
that
plan.
might have something to do with bird flu.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% on this, but I think it might have something to do with the bird flu. I'm not sure if this is a political thing, but what do I know?
But in Pennsylvania, there was a
Musk.
I added the wrong thing to the stage. I do want to do the Elon Musk thing if we get time, but I really don't care if I do or not. Here, let me get this.
Is that a smash and grab? There's 40 of them.
Dude, no, that's that was something else.
Wow, if they were boosting, there was a lot of them doing it, dude. That was a smooth crew right there.
Yeah, no, that's not eggs. That's jewelry heist. But
yeah, it looked like a smash and grab, man. That's what it looked like. Looks like a smash and grab. And look at all of them, man.
All right, here we go.
You've heard of jewelry heists, but never an egg heist until now.
About 100,000 eggs were stolen.
You heard right. 100,000 eggs stolen from an egg distributor. That's a lot of eggs. The egg heist took place at an egg distribution center in Franklin County, Pennsylvania. The eggs were stolen from the back of the trailer, and the entire haul is said to be worth $40,000. The eggs came from Pete and Jerry's Organic.
So I don't know how Inside Edition feels about us playing clips from them. So I'm just
that's enough. That's enough. Because I'll tell you something. You talk about the dumbest theft in the history. This is worse than the great copper heist of 2008. Why would you steal 80 billion of something to get $40,000? How many eggs was it? 100,000 eggs?
Yeah.
You realize that the logistics of getting this. Now, they say it's worth 40K. Let me tell you a little something about being a criminal. That doesn't mean you're going to get 40K.
No.
If if that's what it costs in the store, the fence in the dream world, like you see in the movies, he's going to give you 50 cents on the dollar. You're probably not going to get that. You're probably not going to get that, especially not on something that immediately has to be refrigerated and all of that stuff. I would imagine this is going to be a little tougher.
Resell where are you going to set up to resell? Because you have to put it out there that you have them for sale and without getting in trouble.
Yeah,
Look,
I mean, this is
a dozen eggs back to the house without one crack. So
breaking them. That's what I was thinking. How do you boost 100,000 eggs without cracking a crap load of them? What a nightmare, dude. This is why I robbed banks. Honest to God, because I started out.
Oh, you used to tell me that stealing money is the ticket, man.
It is because I used to look when the first time I met a fence. It's like it always happens, right? This guy says to me, "Yeah, I know this dude he'll buy anything you steal," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" He's like, "Yeah, you steal anything." And so he introduces me to the guy's a Mexican dude. We used to call him Jesse James, and he owned a store. He had a couple of different stores. He was a cool dude, cool as a fan. And the first time I went in, the first thing I ever brought to him was a computer. And it was back when they were in boxes on desks, and it was it was from a Office Depot, still in the box. It was $3,000. And I brought it to him and he's like, he had to look it up, got the price off of it. And he's like, $1,500. I'm like, done. He handed it to me. I'm like, I have won the lottery. 3 weeks later, dude, I bring him something $3,000. He'd be like, yeah, I got a lot of those in the back. Or kind of dying on that. Give you $180. Would that help? He'd be like, you mother. All I wanted to do was kill him. It was his fault I became a bank robber. I'm not even joking. Yeah. Because you get to a point where you can't, no matter what you take, you got to steal like $60,000 worth of stuff a week to support a $6,000 drug habit. And it didn't make any sense. So I just cut out the middleman. But that's a dumb theft. 100,000 eggs to make 20K. Get on it. That's I don't understand, but it kind of I seen an interview of the guy who owned the place on another network, and his business was killing it right now because the price of regular egg, because he's like an organic, locally grown, it's a higher end egg of some sort. And so now the price of regular eggs are close to the price of his higher end eggs. So more people are buying. If you're going to spend $7 on a dozen eggs, why not spend $7.50 on these higher quality eggs, right? Right.
Because his eggs aren't going up because he's locally grown. So it kind of sucks for him, man. I really feel for the guy. He would seem like a super cool guy. Like his whole world was his egg farm. But
so you ready for a trip down Tommy's memory lane? I'll blow your mind right now. So you know that my memory is a little different than the next guy's, but you and I have had a very similar discussion while in the shoe. we had a newspaper that came in that I was reading, had an article about my friend in it. I showed you the picture of him in the wheelchair, but someone stole, like, I can't remember the amount of maple syrup, but it was the equivalent of one of those tanker trucks. Somebody stole one of those. And at the time we were talking about it and everyone was going, why would you do that? And I'm like, because that crap costs way more than gasoline or anything else by the gallon. That, and as it turns out, the stuff was made in Canada. And we kind of got into a debate about Canadian versus American maple syrup, because no offense to you Canadians, but I'm just saying. It's the good stuff comes from Vermont. That's all I'm saying. But that actually that actually did happen. We have had this very similar conversation, because while we were in prison, this happened. It was a huge theft of maple syrup, and that one I actually thought to myself, that's not such a bad theft. I mean, you could take that to anybody that makes the stuff and just dump it into their stash. I think you're better off stealing the maple syrup than the eggs. I'm just coming in this as a criminal again, but the maple syrup's the better theft. But it was worth way more than that. I mean, It was a really high dollar, and it made the price of all other maple syrup kind of go up, because there's a finite amount of it. And if it's on the black market, then the rest of the stuff gets a little bit more scarce.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Pretty crazy though.
Normal eggs went from $4.50 to $8.50. Yeah, maybe look, anytime something starts to go up that much in value, like whenever gold starts going through the roof, people start boosting gold. You see a lot more break-ins of people stealing jewelry and things like that. Crime is
it's $7 a dozen up here. Yeah, in
that's
Montana.
Insane.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have any idea what a pack of say Newports cost in New York?
No, I have no idea what cigarettes cost.
Your mind. Somebody said this the other day in one of the chats. Somebody told me they're paying $18 for a pack of New Pimps.
Oh my God, that's nuts.
Can you wrap your brain? It's like $1 a cigarette.
Did you know you can't even buy Newports in California?
They did away with menthol altogether?
Yeah, they sure did. Anything with flavor, it's just got to be straight tobacco. No vape flavors.
Well, this is a debate that I'm not joking. I've gotten into with 4 people in prison, where somebody said to me, I said, this was big in the news that they were trying to get rid of mentholated tobacco in a lot of states and this and that. And the dude was like, what's the big deal? I'm like, because it's really bad for your lungs. It's like a totally different kind of thing going on in there. And I said to him, and the chemicals that they're adding, and he's like, what do you mean the chemicals they're adding? I'm like, how do you think they make it taste like menthol? And he's like, no, those plants are mentholated tobacco plants. And I was like, what? He's like, no, it's just, like there's a menthol plant. I'm like, brother, no, dude. I'm like, they're soaking that crap in chemicals. Like, you're way off. And he just sat there and argued with me. It was pretty incredible. But yeah, the mentholated tobacco plant.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, I did start doing, I'll be pinching clips from our morning show, and I'll be putting up videos of just different segments on the channel.
I love that.
Yeah, I just wanted everyone to know that's a thing that we'll be doing, and some other little extra stuff. I'm in SoCal. Flavor vapes are still available at smoke shops. Really?
Now, here's the question, though. Here's the question, Navy Steve. Do you have to go like this? Hey, you guys got the cool flavor still, or is it one of those, or is it like out in the shelf?
Oh, like when you buy a meth pipe, hey, you have an oil burner?
Yeah, do you have an oil burner? You know what's crazy? When I was in Reno, Nevada, actually, funny enough, the store that was owned by Jesse James, you would go in and walk up to the front and go, I need a 1-in-1. And the woman would reach down under the counter and pull up a brown sack, and it had a flower buddy in it with a rolled up piece of Brillo. Yeah, 1-in-1. So you crack. See, there you go. The truth comes out. I knew it. Look, I was in Cali and I got the same thing. I walked in and I go, oh crap, dude, all you got is tobacco. And he went, yep. I might have a couple of stuff that we haven't sold out of. I'm like, yeah, bring out the stuff you haven't sold out of. Yeah. Because they did pass the laws, but they're going to get away with it for a while. When they made ecstasy illegal.
Just go in and tell them the flamingo has landed.
That's right. Or you know what? Pick the most common name that you could possibly come up with, right? Steve is actually the one we used to use when we did marketing because everyone knows a Steve. But go in there and go, hey, Steve told me you got the, the unicorn's milk. Bust that out, dude. And I want it in the 3.5. Salt Nick. Hurry.
That's so funny. You said, Steve, when I was doing, I was working in a toner room, where you call and you sell toner cartridges to Xerox machines.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were all Mr. Hoffman.
Nice.
That was the name. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. That never goes wrong. I'm calling for Mr. Hoffman. They can give it to who's ever next in the queue.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah. Absolutely perfect. So listen to this. This is one of the great hustles of all time. And I credit myself for this. But back before the internet, right? Back when you had to run television commercials to put people in hotel rooms so you could go and try to, so you could show them how to make money on the internet or through real estate. And one of the hustles that we worked was we would go to like the thrifty nickel newspapers. You know what those are? Those cheap newspapers that you can get. Okay. We would run.
It's called the something nickel.
Yeah, it's always a nickel or Abe Lincoln special or something. It's always got a big nickel on it. But with the thrift,
ours is the penny saver.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So no, you're good. So we'd run a whole full page ad in it, which costs nothing because it's the penny saver, but you write it up like a New York Times article. There's a little picture of the chick that wrote the article and all of that, just looks exactly perfect. And then we would go and steal those papers from everywhere where they put them out. So we had thousands of them and we would cut out just that article, right? Put it into an envelope and write on it, hey, I thought you might like to take a look at this. It's amazing. And sign it, Steve. And the article was about this dude making $1 gazillion in real estate or this dude making $1 gazillion in this. And then at the very end, it would say, and this guy is speaking at the Hilton on Tuesday. And we would flood rooms with people. But the name of it was always, hey, Steve told me to tell you this. And it was Steve every single time. But we filled rooms full of people that way. And our cost per acquisition, because when you do it by running an infomercial, the most money you can sell someone is $499, and it costs us $100 to put the guy in the room. So your profit margin. So anybody I could put in the room that didn't cost any money to get him there was like stealing. We had all kinds of hustles like that, but that was one of them.
Yeah.
And don't get mad at me if you ever got one of those in the mail. I was a criminal, man. I was a criminal at that time. I also had a hand in putting VitaPro in Texas prisons.
Yikes.
Just checking to see if we had any Texas inmates here. I got some hate mail for that a couple of days ago. Someone was like, VitaPro, you lousy. And he was a convict because the way he started in on me, he said it like a convict would. Yeah, I just worked for the company. I didn't really have anything to do with putting it in there, but I did work for that company.
So let's talk about Wes Watson a little bit.
So give everybody a history of Wes Watson so they know who he is first, because you and I know who he is.
I don't know a ton about Wes Watson, but I know that he became an influencer, and he was like selling like a how to be a man like course, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it's the misogynist you can be a better person course. He's kind of a he's selling toxic masculinity, and that if you talk the same way, you'll sound an awful lot like a professional wrestler kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And he talks about how he did a lot of time in prison. Yeah.
Didn't he say he was like a shot caller or something like that?
Yeah, he did. He said he's a big deal apparently in the California prison system. And you know what? Yeah, he's kind of a dick swinger. And here's the tough thing. Like I can't say he's not. I never did any time in that facility, right? For all I know, this guy was a big-time shot caller. If he is different than any shot caller I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a shot caller like this. Have you?
No, never. And I've seen a lot of shot callers. I've been a shot caller, but I was a little different.
They tend to be a lot quieter than this cat.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly. This guy looks like he saw a couple of movies about shot callers, and this is how he thinks he ought to look, kind of a thing. But I can't see this dude having a yard, but maybe I'm wrong. I wasn't there. I definitely can't say he didn't. But I can say he was super nice to Diddy at a time when he shouldn't have been. Weird ass clip of film.
Wow, wow.
Some of you are going to recognize this guy from a Diddy clip that I played a long time ago, where Diddy was out and about in Miami, and this guy saw him and called. This guy calls Diddy the king. It was awful. All right.
Yeah. So I don't know if John here is making a suggestion we do like a recovery after the bars Mondays. I'm down with that. I mean, really, recovery is open for discussion at any time.
At any time.
I would like to let everyone in the chat know that if there's ever an issue or something anyone ever wants to talk about recovery, we're here for that first and foremost. Just like the lifeboat, we will stop what we are talking about if someone's going through something. At least,
no question.
I'm assuming that's
no
our
question. Yeah.
Okay.
We've gotten way off of our ways. If we ever double back on that, we've probably started to lose it. It's the reason both of us are here, and it's astounding. The juxtaposition of where we met and where we sit today is one of the coolest things in the world.
And that's really what we're trying to like showcase, right? I mean,
absolutely, two ways about it.
It's fun, but I take advantage of this for a chance to hang out with you, to have discussions about funny stuff, to talk to the people in the chat who have been amazing since day one, since I met everybody in Lifeboat. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. But anyway, what I'm going to play is this guy, Chad Marks. I'm going to be on his show this week, probably doing the interview tomorrow. Probably just going to do my story.
I'm proud of you, brother. That's pretty cool, because this is actually a pretty this is actually kind of a big deal show. Proud of you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, he's got COVID right now, or his family does. Chad's talking about.
I think he'll do a better job of you than our mutual friend did.
Yeah.
That's not you. That's him, bro. I'm telling you. I that's an interview I would take back, and I don't feel like that about too many interviews.
Me too.
That's an interview.
Me too. Yeah. All right. Let's see what Chad has to say.
You can relate to this shit that I'm about to talk about. You know, sometimes in prison, dudes get positions. And once you get that position, sometimes it goes to their head. Other times, dudes get positions and they still continue to make the right decisions, right? So like Wes Watson, and this is the other part too, and we'll talk about it, you know, like, let's say like the Aryan Brotherhood, you know, everybody despised the Aryan Brotherhood. We'll talk about white gangs a little bit, right? Why did they despise the AB in prison? Well, because they had the power. They had the influence at one time, right? And when they had that influence, you know, they could tell white dudes like, yo, bro, you ain't watching the white TV. Well, why not? Don't ask why. Or they might be like, this is why. You know, and I'll relate to another situation where we had a dude that was smoking chew, stinking and shit. And we told him, hey, bro, you can't be over here in the white TV area smelling like that. You're offending other people. Get out of here. You're not sitting over here. Dudes didn't want it. And that's what happened. We got rid of them. You got to go, right? So, you know, when you start to build up, right, and you start to do things, other people sometimes get angry, right? Same thing with the Dirty White Boys. Everybody at one point decided, hey, now, you know, the Aryan Brotherhood kind of phased out, not a bunch of them dudes. We'll give out some audiobooks. Just email me. You know, dudes started to phase out, and then the Dirty White Boys kind of were like the strength, right, of the white gangs. So everybody started disliking them. So Wes Watson comes on TV and he gets on YouTube. This dude's making, you know, he's making, you know, he's promoting himself, right? He's marketing himself. He's promoting himself. And how do you do that? You get loud. You get boisterous. You know, I could do all that shit too, you know. You get loud, boisterous. I mean, I obviously don't look like him, you know what I'm saying? But I'm working on it. I am working on it. But anyway.
I know you are, Chair.
Not really working on it like that. But, yeah, we're not
Juice, that's what he did.
Yeah, beat it. Yeah. We know that they lost. Thanks for telling us. We would have never known if you didn't tell us. Okay, so this is the deal, right? You know, dude comes on, he starts marketing himself, he starts yelling, screaming. Maybe he's embellishing his stories, making himself bigger than he really was, or did things that he really didn't do. But people buy into that shit on YouTube all the time, right? People always buy into that story, into that narrative, right? People have been telling stories before there was ever televisions, right? People being covered wagons, man, they'd circle around and they'd tell stories, and that's how they entertain themselves, right? Storytelling. People started storytelling. I'm not saying that all this dude's stories are storytelling, but, you know, some of them seem a little embellished, right? Build up his platform. He starts getting money. He becomes, you know, this influencer. You know, there's probably a bunch of white dudes that listen to this dude, right? dudes that really don't know about prison. They're like, love this guy, man. This guy's the best, bro. They call up a homie or they send a video over to one of their homeboys. Some of these dudes probably work in offices, all kinds of shit, right? Like, you know, suit and tie kind of guys, and they're fascinated by the prison life. They see this big ass honky right here, tattooed up, muscled up. They've been watching, you know, shit on Spike TV when Spike TV used to have the prison stuff on it and A&E. They're like, man, this dude's the real deal. And they buy into his program, right? Then he starts, you know, doing the workout shit, and people are buying all of that stuff. And Wes Watson's all the way up here. And dudes are like, man, F Wes Watson, man, he's a liar. All the stuff that he told, it's all a bunch of bullshit, all a bunch of stories. And now Wes has to, you know, protect the image that he's projecting, right? He's this badass white dude, you know, prison shot caller. If you let
Shot caller.
maybe he really was. I don't know, right? I wasn't in prison with this dude.
20-inch blades.
Nah, man, we know dudes. Or I was with this dude. This dude's full of shit. It don't matter if he's full of shit because at this point, the dude's all the way up. Pockets are big. Can anybody Google what his net worth is? What's he worth? What's Wes Watson worth? Millions, right? A couple million. Someone Google that real quick and put it in the comments for me, right? So now his stories, his narrative, he got paid. People are mad. People are like, man, F this dude. This dude's a liar. I don't like this dude. And I don't like, you know, some people don't like him because he made it to the top, right? Because he's getting that bread. Sometimes there's haters in life, right? Some people don't care for this dude because they feel that he got arrogant. Like I'm telling you, the dude that I'm really close friends with, that helped him out in the beginning. You know who I'm talking about, bro, if you see this. You know, the dude, he gets arrogant, right? He starts mistreating people. He starts, he just, my debit card was used. What the fuck? I got to check out and see what the hell's going on.
So basically, I was hoping he was going to talk a little bit more about Wes, but basically that's Wes in a nutshell.
So look, he's a steroided out. I'm sorry, the guy looks like he's juicing.
I got a picture of him. I'll pull up a picture.
Pull it up. You know because there's a big difference between. I mean, and I'm not mad at you. I've done steroids. I did them years ago. I mean, I'm not mad at him for juicing, but you know, he nailed it. That's exactly the truth. This is a guy that has put an image out. There's a lot of people out there that say that they did time with him and that none of the stuff is true. I can't back any of that up. And I also know that they can say whatever they want about you on YouTube, and there's nothing anyone can do about it because that's the story of my life, right? We deal with this every single day. But I can judge Wes Watson for things that he's done that we can look at. And if you Google Wes Watson and P. Diddy, you're going to come up with it because there's only going to be one time where the two of them met.
Dude,
and he went into absolute like Diddy worship. Man, this is the king. This is storybook. This is how it happens down here in Miami. That's what he said. If that's not a quote, it's pretty damn close. I got it like that. It's a memory thing. Actually, it's I used to be a beast. Like when I met Casper, man, my memory was freaky. I could scare you with stuff. Like I could spit back things people said word for word, but those days are over. I'm getting old, you see, and the old gray matter, it ain't what it used to be. I knew Kristen Melinda was going to pop with the 20-inch blades on the Impala. She does that just about any time you say shot caller. You know, and you make a really good point. Anytime that people start believing the hype about themselves, problems happen, it seems. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. There really is. Oh, look at that.
So here's Wes getting confronted by the guy. This is on Johnny Bravo Films. He's a great creator.
Next to him, all beating down this guy brutally. Then after he's done, he beat.
But Wes Watson called this guy
It's
out.
weapons. It's his goon little fuckers next to him, all beating down this guy brutally.
Anyway, they all jump
then
in.
after he.
You know what? That would have been a good hoedown, the two of them, though. Right? That guy had size on Wes Watson. That guy to stomp that dude out. That would have been interesting to watch.
But I don't know. I don't think Wes can fight, though. You know, when guys are that big, they're so intimidating that when they call people on, most people just back down, so they don't get in a lot of fights. When I first went to prison, I wasn't a fighter. You know what I mean? I lost a few fights. I won a couple fights. Finally, someone told me, hey, Cass, you should keep your eyes open when you get in these fights, and you'll probably do a lot better, right?
It helps, doesn't it?
yeah, once I started keeping my eyes open, I started winning fights because I'm not a small dude. I'm kind of a big dude, you know.
But you're one of few with your eyes closed, though. Good for you, dog. That tells you a lot. And prison fighting is fun.
Yeah.
But you learn real quick to keep your elbows in.
Yeah, I'm no tough guy though. Yeah, keep your elbows in. Right.
Hey, did you ever see the movie Raising Arizona?
Oh man, I'll take
the fight scene inside the mobile home. That's fighting in prison. Like the first time you get in a fight, so you go like this and you hit the bunk and you're like, oh my God, you don't even want to fight anymore. The only good news is the guy that goes to punch you does the same thing against the brick wall in the back. You get real good at doing this one. Like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Keep your elbows on the inside, man.
Yeah. But
Paula, men get old and women get beautiful and glow. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Besides, I got city miles, not highway miles.
I'll take everything you got in the register and these Huggies.
And hurry up. I'm kind of in Dutch with the old lady.
Yeah. But here he is getting arrested. You know, he's a big dude. For that fight, the fight was all over the internet. Johnny Bravo Films, who's an amazing creator who I'm kind of robbing this from. He was the first one to get a full video of that fight, and so that's his footage. He owns that. And
look at the all slung back on the back of his head. He's got the prison camouflage down, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, make no mistake. Johnny Bravo is great, by the way. I'm so jealous of the guy's hair. It's hard to like him. He's just handsome. Got that Elvis look going, and he's got the Johnny Bravo hair for real. Yeah, I don't like you either. How many times have I said that?
I know.
Seriously. Other than the hair thing, I like you.
Let's take a look at his hearing.
Next morning, you wait to see the judge to see if they're going to give you bail. So this is not a trial. This is just a request for bail. Now notice,
little bail hearing.
When you're watching this, they fuck up everywhere. They don't even see the guy has a prior. Okay. But again, this is not a trial. This is
Honor Michael Gottlieb on behalf of Mr. Watson.
Good morning. Do you have any? Have you had a chance to review the arrest affidavit?
I have not seen the affidavit, Your Honor. However, I am familiar with the actual circumstances of the case. This was a fight that happened at Mr. Watson's gym, where an individual challenged Mr. Watson to a fight, came into the gym, placed a recording device believed to be a cell phone down to watch him fight Mr. Watson. I believe Mr. Watson has numerous defenses, including stand your ground, self-defense, and consent to this charge. I understand the state's theory. However, this individual came to Mr. Watson for the specific purpose of challenging him in a street fight. And then
here it says the CCTV shows the victim set up his phone to start recording the interaction between him and the defendant. And it says the victim pushed the defendant.
Correct.
State.
I'm reading it, Your Honor.
Bummer.
Several times at the weightlifting bench.
She's just now reading it.
And then other people joined.
Yeah, what an idiot.
Striking and kicking the victim.
Let's hear Wes talk, brother.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to talk, man. I mean, I can pull up a million things of him talking, but
I don't see any local or out-of-county priors here. I would defer to the court and just simply ask for the stay-away order.
The victim suffered a face fracture, concussion, and 2 black eyes, but it looks like you have a very valid legal argument, Mr. Gottlieb.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask for an ROR.
Well, your order to stay away from
released on his own recognizance.
No contact with the victim, either directly, indirectly, in person, in writing, by telephone, or through third parties. And you must stay at least 500 feet away from the victim's home, school, and place of employment at all times. Do you understand the stay away, sir?
Yeah.
All right. So he punched him, and then they used a weight. He used a weight belt.
Correct.
So it aggravated. There's probable cause for, I guess, the felony. You want me to split them both, 2,500 each? I'm not giving an ROR.
I understand, Judge. Nice. That was acceptable. Thank you.
$2,500 bond count one, $2,500 bond count two. Have a good
Oh,
day.
she yanked the carpet right out from underneath them.
Mr. Watson, I'll take care of that. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Could you repeat the bonds?
$2,500 $2,500 count two with a stay away order. If he comes to your gym, call the police. Don't engage, because if you get arrested for anything else, you'll be locked up in jail until your trial.
Okay, I just want to real quick.
Mr. Watson, please don't make any statements.
Shut
We'll
up.
talk about it. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
can't help about that.
No problem. No problem. I'll make sure your bond is arranged. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Take care.
He can't
Can't
help
help
himself.
himself. Shut up, dude. So ROR is you're getting released on your own recognizance, right? ROR is the best possible case scenario if you're sitting there at a bail hearing, and it looked like she was going to give it to him, and then she was like, "Wait a second. No, this is felony. You didn't just defend yourself. You grabbed a weight belt. No, this ain't good." So, but it's not much of a bail.
No, it's not. But I don't think he's got a huge criminal history either. So not the criminal history he likes to brag about.
No, but he has been to the joint, so he's at least got several felonies.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the first one was just rowdy, you usually don't go to prison on your first felony.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a deep dive on this entire thing, and we're gonna follow this here. On
same thing, actually. Same thing.
Yeah. What did I say? Put a 1 in the chat if people want to see some court stuff like every once in a while. Yeah. I have hours and hours and hours of awesome court hearings.
There's nothing I like. I like revocations. They're my favorite. There's nothing, you know why? Honestly, because I think that there's life lessons in them. And I mean, I'm not being funny. I like looking back on that crap. I was watching one the other day, and as I'm sitting and listening, because the woman's like, the judge says, "So you were ordered to do community service. Have you done any of it?" No. "You were ordered to do this. Have you done any of it?" No. "You were ordered." And it went on for about 5 minutes. There's like 9 things this dude was supposed to be doing. He hasn't done any of it. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, what a douchebag. Like, how could you? And then it occurred to me that I had been sitting in that dude's seat saying the exact same thing to a judge about a dozen times in my life, man.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how far off dope will get you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way to look at it. I'm just not that person.
Those would be good to showcase because of the relapse component of it. We can talk about that. The repercussions of relapse and letting yourself get too far out there. I don't see. There's some ones. I was like, man, no one's saying anything.
No, there's a bunch of ones. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I definitely want to find out whether or not the guy that ran all of those people over at the at that Christmas festival really got moved to ADX. Yep. Daryl Brooks. That's one that, that
I'll find that out today.
Yeah, because that's fascinating stuff. Daryl Brooks was that case. I don't know if you followed that, but it was one of the most interesting cases that as far as watching a trial.
Yeah.
Because the idiot wanted to defend himself and he wasn't going to back off on that. You know what I mean? Normally a judge can talk you out of defending yourself. And normally about the first time that you start the process, but he wanted so badly to get his ex-girlfriends, plural, on the stand. He was really looking forward to doing cross-examination and just being a jerk. And and it was kind of wild because this was one of those situations where the judge was going to let him do this, but she was going to make sure that no matter what the hell happened, when a real lawyer got a hold of this, they weren't going to be able to get him back in court. In other words, she gave him way, way, way more latitude than any judge would ever give anybody. She was remarkable, in my opinion. I think that was, this is going to sound nuts, but I don't know. I think if it had been any other judge, I think if it had been a man, we'd have been in trouble. I don't think a man could have gotten through that. I really don't. I think a man would have ended up doing something that would have jeopardized that entire case. She was so patient with that moron. But it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not he really has been shipped off to the ADX. That would be, this does happen, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
State inmates are moved into the feds all the time. Yep, it happens all of the time.
I wanted to show everyone, this is when I do all the legal stuff, this is my legal setup there. This is where I like record all the legal stuff.
Good Lord, man.
I edit it behind me.
That's the SS Enterprise. What are you kidding me?
SS Enterprise, yeah.
You're right, Cuda by the Lake. It was a tough trial to watch. It really was. It was a very difficult trial to watch. He spent about half of the time in the courtroom, the other half of the time kicked out of the courtroom. Just a jackwagon. I mean, of the highest order. But I hate things like this because once again, the duality of this, because people lost their lives and there's nothing funny about what happened and what he did, but there are parts of his trial that are so damn funny. It is incredible. Where he's trying to act like a lawyer and do the legalese thing.
Oh, yeah.
Could watch that shit for days. I'm sorry. I really could.
They put him, remember when they put him in the next courtroom because he wouldn't shut up?
Yeah, they had to. Yeah, they had to. I thought that was righteous. I really did.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I record 6 different courtrooms every day, and then I scan probably 30 different courtrooms.
Do you get our girl every day? The black lady judge from
every day.
She's a beast.
Yeah,
that woman is the judge to watch. She is so much fun, man.
Yeah,
she really is, and she says some of the greatest things. She was the ramen noodle judge. Man, they're going to be trading your ass for a ramen noodle by this afternoon, man. You're going to be traded for a candy bar. She was like, we're going off record. And she just lit this kid up. It was great, man. It really was. It was great.
It's funny. The first time I ever seen a computer before, desktops was AV Stevie. His dad was really into computers. He worked for the airline. And that was the first time I ever seen an IBM. And, there was no Macintosh. There was no nothing. This is before Mac. Well, probably, no, I wouldn't say before Mac, but it was when Macintosh only had that little,
Oh, I remember. You could get it in different colors. It was the first Mac.
But he had an IBM, and that thing was ancient. But I used to just look at it in awe, like, wow, that is crazy.
So, you know what? We're getting the vibe, dude. We have a lot of court nerds here, and I didn't say law nerds because the queen of all legal stuff online is Emily D. Baker, the queen of the law nerd. So I was saying court nerds, so they don't step on her because she is the OG to be sure. But what do you think? It looks like we got a lot of people that would groove on it. I think we should do it. There's I absolutely love the courtroom stuff, and we can bring things to this that you can't even get from an attorney for real. We spent a lot of time doing this, and some of the stuff is fascinating because of what's going on in the minds of the inmate as they're sitting there.
Yeah,
like the difference between the first and second sentencing.
Yeah. That was my whole reason for getting into the law tube genre, is because I would watch all these lawyer channels and they would say, yeah, I don't even know what that means. They're talking about, and I knew those answers, from being on the other side. And I was like, oh, and I'd always put it in the chat. And finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to start my own channel. And then this happened. It's crazy, dude.
Dude, that is crazy. I love that, though. I really do. I love that.
Yeah.
Hannah Banana says, I'm a law nerd and appreciate that Tommy loves Emily D. Baker's amazing. She's show prep, honestly. I watch her at double speed. There's nothing that she does that I don't watch. She's just fantastic at what she does. And there's not a lot of BS and just enough cursey words to make it fun. But the difference between the first time you get sentenced and the second, just right. You remember when you went in and they say to you before you go in there, All right, here's the deal I got for you. You're going to go in today. You're going to plead guilty, and here's exactly what you're going to get. Yes, she does have cats. Then you walk in, and the judge goes, "Nobody promised you anything today, did they?" Yeah, they just promised me something like a minute ago. And I remember the first time I said that, I'm like, "Yeah, they promised me something." And my lawyer's putting his arm around me, going, "No, listen, we didn't promise you." Bullshit. I just sat in the room with him for 25 minutes. They said if I plead guilty. No, but she doesn't have to go with that. Well, then this doesn't feel like a very good deal. And then what's worse is they say to you, "All right, Casper, so you're being sentenced today to 6 years in the penitentiary," and your heart goes and stops, right? And then she takes a deep breath and goes, "All of which will suspend except for the time served you did today." And you're like, "Ugh." Right? The first time that happens to you, your heart stops. Because they make
you don't know.
You don't the crap out of you.
What suspended is, or your lawyer might have explained it, but you just think you're not getting it. Do you know what I mean?
I almost got whiplash because I was looking so hard at my attorney. I'm like, 4 years in the pen, dude. You just said I was going home, right? What the hell are we talking about? And then she's like, "And I'm going to suspend all of that, but the 160 days you just did in the county jail." Yeah. And I'm still too stupid to know what's going on. So wait.
Or they use a different word than suspend, like. Is it I don't know.
Everything they do is meant to scare the crap out of you. Yeah. And it works, man. It really is. I mean, it works.
I already know the first 2 videos I want to show on Monday. And I put up a really good video last night too of this guy and this girl, and she accused the judge of being a swinger, and this judge is no nonsense too, but it's a really good I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a really good case.
Yeah, I love geeking out on it. And I'll tell you something else, guys. I was talking to Casper about this yesterday. We have the ability to live stream cases. So if there is a case that's coming up that everybody really wants to see, then we will live stream that bad boy, and we will hang out and talk about it. And
even if it takes us past 11, right? I mean, if it's something,
we don't care. No, we can leave that. No, we can leave that baby running all day if necessary. So if there is a case that you guys really want us to cover, you should let us know it, because we absolutely will do that.
Yep. And I'm keeping an eye on Karen Reed right now too. And what's his name? But anyway, what else do I have here?
Well, mentholated plants are like chocolate cows. See, Holly Larson gets it. You milk a chocolate cow for chocolate milk, and you grow a mentholated plant if you want a mentholated smoke.
That's so funny.
Makes perfect sense.
I worked in a prison dairy one time, and I'm going to ruin chocolate milk for everybody. Some of the milk. Wait, maybe I shouldn't talk about this. Well, I'm going to talk about it because I already started it.
You can't uncork that.
Yeah,
it's too late now.
Some of the milk will have blood in it from the cow, and they use that milk because it's discolored from the blood. They use that milk for the chocolate milk, the discolored milk. I never knew that. Yeah.
On the bright side, I buy white milk and make chocolate milk with it out of Hershey's syrup.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
always been my get down, because I like it a little gnarlier, and I don't like it often, so it's not worth buying a gallon for anyway. But when I buy it, that's how
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy how quick you can drink chocolate milk? How it just keeps going.
I don't know if you've ever seen the. I don't know whether or not you've seen the clip of film. I drink a gallon of milk on the lifeboat. My brother and I did the gallon of milk challenge.
Really?
It's one of my shining achievements, actually.
Do you have to drink it like what, within an hour?
I believe the challenge is 30 minutes, but I could be wrong. An hour would be just fine. But I got mine down in about 10. It took about 10 minutes to get down. It took a little more than 4 seconds to come back up.
Yeah,
actually, I think it was 2. I think it was 2 seconds coming back up. But the sound that it makes is absolutely legendary. It's a really funny video. Chica Cherry Cola, good to see you. Or Chica Cherry Cola, as my fiance would say.
John here, John Lawson.
Yes.
He's encouraged people to go to recovery programs while locked up. I absolutely do that, and I'm down for most of the recovery programs that are available while they're incarcerated. At the places I were, it was a place to exchange things, from the yard. So there was a lot of that. But if you can stay away from that, I definitely encourage that. Unfortunately, people locked up can't hear our program, but if one of our viewers ends up going back, absolutely do as much recovery as you can while you're locked up, and then make sure, like, when you get out, if you can't do a halfway house, do sober living, man. I am such a big fan of sober living. Saved my life, because I have gone back to prison how many times for relapse? So many times. And then the one time that I chose sober living, I was, I went to treatment, then sober living. But it was from jail. I was able to succeed because I had that extra time of actually working my job and coming back to a safe place. And I learned how to keep myself safe from people, places, and things. And I learned that when my perceptions get twisted, while out there living in the real world, to go to a meeting and to reset, if a meeting was it, or go to church or pray or wake up and be grateful in the morning and practice gratitude, read a couple pages out of the big book, whatever it took. But sober living encouraged all of that. And living by myself or living with a normie, girlfriend, or a girlfriend that's in recovery doesn't promote that. So I definitely encourage a ton of programming while in prison, getting out of prison. Just don't try to make it on your own when you get out. You've got to have some kind of support if you're an addict.
It's going to sound awful, and it's probably going to sound arrogant, and it's not, I promise you. But every program I ever went to inside for sobriety, even when I was working hard with Q and I was trying to get sober or whatever, it is a way that the fellas could get, just like Casper was saying, they call everybody up to NA. So there were 9 units on the yard. And now, for the first time, right, for a lot of these guys, this is the only time the guy from Unit 1 and the guy from Unit 8 have a shot of being in the same place at night. Right. The way they start putting yards up and all that. So you're in there trying to get focused and get your shit together. And you talk about triggers like a bottle or whatever. There are guys in the back cutting deals. I mean, there were dudes in there like passing sacks. And now that they got it, everybody's trying to go to the bathroom to hit a lick, right? Because they all want to go in there and get high. And it's just that to me was one of the most triggering environments in the world. And when I told Q, like when I was getting ready to leave, he goes, "You got a program where you get where you're going, especially for drugs." I'm like, "Man, you know what those are like." He's like, "You got to start one, man. Go out there and tell people on the yard. You're going to go out and talk about sobriety. That way, it's just going to be the dudes that are already with you. There won't be anybody else coming in." And as it turned out, it was a super open yard. It was a yard where guys from every unit kind of could meet every day anyway. So we ended up with a group of like 115, 116 guys that would come out and meet every day. There were a bunch of people in that yard that wanted to get sober. Yeah. But I agree with you. But for me, having done a decent amount of prison time, they're never going to do anything you're going to have to build your own program. Yeah. So like Casper was saying, get the big book or do whatever you're going to do, but you're going to have to build your own program. You know what? Prison is scary.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say prison is scary.
Yeah. And like for me, like I can't do NA because NA is a trigger for me, because I used to go to NA and look and wait for that one cute girl to share that she's in relapse mode, or that she's, that she relapsed the night before and she's at a meeting. And, I would always end up relapsing with her or, doing something, because that's part of my addiction. And so I can't do NA, but I do my sponsors in AA, my home groups in AA. When I need to, I go to 5 meetings a week. When I don't need to, I don't. So there's definitely, we've talked about it before, many paths, many different ways to recover. It's even in our about. And I'm all about doing everything that another thing I do, and I will, if you're honest with yourself, I'll ask myself, is this decision furthering my recovery? And it could be with anything, and AA and NA aside, and the 12 steps aside, is what I'm doing today, is me going to this place. I would do it with everything. Is this furthering my recovery, or is it taking away from my recovery? And then I would add another one once I got my spiritual life intact. Is this decision bringing me closer to God, or is it bringing me farther from God, or closer to love, like we talk about, or
I love that.
Closer to hate?
Yep.
If you are honest with yourself and you ask yourself those questions, especially like being a newcomer or trying to stay clean, and if you not react but take action on your honest answer to those questions, you'll be successful, hands down.
To be sure, I think that for the first, so I'll be 10 years off of heroin in June this year, June 27th, and for the first probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 of them, all I thought about was recovery. Like literally, it was all I thought about, and I kind of applied the same rules. Am I making this decision based on logical stuff, or is this my old patterns and everything I put to that test? Is this moving me forward in recovery? Not sobriety, because I was so sober the first day I stopped. The recovery part of it, where you try to rebuild your life and do all of that. But as time went on, like when I got to year 6 and when I got to year 7, I started to change more to the spiritual side of it. And I use the word love all the time because it doesn't exclude anybody. But I know for a lot of people that, love does mean God, and to some people it doesn't, or whatever. But yeah, you ask yourself if what you're doing is moving closer to love. And, it's as silly as it sounds, I think the world is starting to move in that direction. I think we're seeing a lot of people, no lie, start to move in that direction. The NFL just put it in their end zone, right?
Yep, they sure did.
And I think that's a pretty good sign.
But people got to understand too, and realize like where we're coming from with exposing a lot of this ST and these other things. There's gonna be some negative annotations or whatever, with that
connotations.
Connotations. We're gonna have to be kind of ruthless about it, and it's gonna seem hateful, but what we hate the sin, not the sinner. We hate the crime, with the criminal. We hate the crime too, I guess, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've been blown away. I'm going down the Mormon rabbit hole, and I don't know if that show will come out today, or I don't know if it's going to go down today or if it's going to go down tomorrow. But the first of the shows that I'm going to be doing on the Mormon Church is coming out in the next couple of days, and I'm blown away at how everything, no matter what happens in my life these days, it always seems to go like this and intersect. The amount of Freemason imagery and Freemason ritual that is identical in the Mormon Church than it is to the first 3 levels of Freemasonry. Yeah. And you can say, that they can say that their prophet was a Freemason and God was telling them all of this stuff, and whatever. That's an argument, and that may work. But with all of that morality and all of this crap, I started going through the death records of some of the highest members in that church, and you would be astounded the number of them that are members of the Royal Order of Jesters.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. Like I lived in Salt Lake City, man. I lived there. I lived amongst the Royal Brethren for a long time. And the idea of these guys rocking it out at Royal Jester branding parties is blowing my mind. Yeah. It's blowing my mind. Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff, but that's going to be a fun rabbit hole. I'll offend a couple of people, but you know what? You just cannot go down any rabbit hole without offending a couple of people. I'm going to do it in such a way that I hope I'm not going to be mocking it. I promise. I'm not doing this like South Park. I'm just going to tell you what they believe, and then sadly what the truth is, because here's the problem with a religion that's not 4,000 or 6,000 years old. It really gets a lot easier to track down some things, and to chase some things down that are, I don't know, it's pretty tough stuff. Yeah, pretty tough. Look at you all slung back. You know, I don't get to see you very often with all of the tats. It's flashing. I get flashbacks.
Me?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with you. You do know we started the show off talking about this, but do you know that you were the first person to ever coin the phrase "no brakes, Rocco"? And when you left that, I couldn't ditch that for the longest time. You dropped that once out on the in the cages, just joke. Well, and I had been on a good one. I'd been snorting basically anything I could get my hands on for a couple of days or whatever. But you're like, yeah, no brakes, Rocco. And you left, and it chased me all the way to the SMU, you know. And then then like 2 or 3 years would go by, and you'd, you know, life, you move on or whatever. And I'd see someone, they'd be like, oh, no brakes, what's up? And that's always great when you're trying to get sober. You know, hey, what's up? No brakes. But that was a Casperism. That was the first time. The first time that was ever said was you. That's a trip.
Awesome.
Yeah, the memory lane. I've retained a lot of that. That's good too, because, you know, I'm my memory used to be really something, but it's you know, as I get older, it's starting to slip quite a bit.
It impresses me, man. Like you'll say something, and once you say it, I'll remember it. I'll be like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. It's a trip, man. I'm just super grateful, man, that our paths crossed again. And
no accidents, man. There are no accidents.
Yep. I watched that episode the other day again, and it was pretty funny. You're like reading it. You're like, what? Yeah. And now look, here we are. Morning Mayhem.
Well, and the funny thing is, I mean, you say again, if you're a white boy and you say Casper, there's probably about 12 nicknames that you hear a lot. Casper happens to be one of them. You hear a lot of Caspers. So when you said Casper, I was like, yeah, well, that doesn't do much good. And then you were like Black Canyon. I'm like, holy crap, I know exactly who you are. Yeah.
I knew Kristen,
I'm happy where to go too. So, what's up?
Yeah. I knew Kristen Melinda would have that link, man. She's amazing, dude.
No, she really is, isn't she? South Park was actually respectful at the end of that episode. South Park's never really respectful to anybody. It's one of the things that I respect about South Park. I mean, look, if you're going to be a douche, you should be a douche to everybody. Family Guy is that way too. You know, they kind of destroy everybody, every faith, every sort of sacred cow they've crapped all over at one point or another.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that those
just because you got that big mustache doesn't mean you can speak Italian. He's all just because you got that mustache.
Great episode.
Italian.
And then they come over, and then the guy immediately knows what he's talking about and hooks him up.
Yeah.
Yes, feed strawberry to a cow for strawberry milk. I like that as an idea, huh? We just get about 5 or 6 cows, feed them nothing but strawberries, and we can have our own Nestle Quick without having to go chemical. I dig it.
Yeah.
I like the idea. You know, when I was a practicing junkie, my favorite beverage on earth was the strawberry Quick, the Nestle Quick, the pink stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
It's my fiance. It's the girl I'm fianced with. I've never once said that right. I know it drives everybody crazy, but
speaking of which, my of significant others, my wife and her friend are gonna do a like a self-help kind. They're just gonna like talk about because you know they both have been through it, abusive relationships, things like that. They're gonna just start talking about that on YouTube.
Who are?
So that might be pretty interesting.
I love it.
Yeah. Yep. We're going to try to put that together here pretty soon, but you know, we don't want to spread ourselves too thin. You know, we still have lots of gesture stuff to do. The 4 horsemen need to get together.
Don't have no fear. I would never spread myself too thin, and I know you wouldn't either. It's gonna be a nice laid back weekend. Actually, I'm really excited. I made it 2 hours, and my back's killing me, but I didn't have one spasm. And as long as my back's not doing this number, once it starts doing that, I'm done, dude. Like once last why I didn't go live last night. Once that started going, it's like each time it happens, it's like an electric shock going through your whole body.
I saw you and Reese when I went to McDonald's last night. When my phone connects to my truck, it instantly goes to YouTube. and it always
yeah?
goes. It always goes to Relatable Reese.
Relatable Reese.
Yeah,
Let's. You could do a lot worse. She's funny.
I sure could.
All righty. Well, I'm going to go and start my day. That brings us to the very top of it, and what could possibly be the greatest outro in the history of. Hold on. What didn't Tommy listen to you about? I'm in trouble already, and I'm not even listening.
Hey, you guys are awesome too, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming out and participating and not just listening. It's awesome.
I listen to you, Relatable Reese, as often as possible. I love you. T-shirt idea, no breaks, Rocco. Oh God, that would just be great.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start doing the merch this weekend too. So I'll start putting some stuff up. I'll create the. I might just do a website on Shopify. I don't know yet, but
I like it. Or the other one's Fourth Wall's kind of easy too. I don't know much about.
I haven't done Fourth Wall, but I've had a few websites.
I just like sounding cool, and I heard someone else say that, and I wanted.
Now wait till you see my websites that I build. You're gonna be like, "What the heck?"
Well, Relatable Reese is going to be sending you a text message.
Okay.
She
cool.
had a couple of questions, so she's going to be sending you that.
Awesome.
All righty, people, you're taking us out. So handle
all right, brother.
Business.
Try to help someone or improve their life this weekend, and then
enjoy that Super Bowl.
Yeah, enjoy the Super Bowl if you're going to watch.